welcome to the Daily Scripture Podcast. My name is Jerome Lavelle, and I hope that you're having a beautiful day today. Today, we will be looking at Luke chapter 7, verses 11 through 17. Jesus journeyed to a city called Nain, and his disciples and a large crowd accompanied him. As he drew near the gate of the city, a man who had died was being carried out, the only son of his mother, and she was a widow. A large crowd from the city was with her. When the Lord saw her, he was moved with pity for her and said to her, "Do not weep." He stepped forward and touched the coffin. At this, the bearers halted, and he said, "Young man, I tell you, arise." The dead man sat up and began to speak, and Jesus gave him to his mother. Fear seized them all, and they glorified God, exclaiming, "A great prophet has arisen in our midst, and God has visited his people." This report about him spread through the whole of Judea and in all the surrounding region. Today in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 7, verses 11 through 17, we hear details of one of Jesus' most spectacular miracles. 3 times the Gospels record Jesus raising people from the dead: the synagogue leader Jairus' daughter, Martha and Mary's brother Lazarus, and today's rising of the son of the widow of Nain. All 3 of these stories record an exceptional, spectacular, very non-standard event. We all know that the natural cycle is not to die and then through divine intervention to be raised from that state, to be raised from the dead. So all 3 of these accounts are extraordinary in terms of human life and the normal sequence of things. In the case of Jairus' daughter, Jesus had been called to see her as she laid ill in her bed. She died as he was traveling to see her, and yet upon arriving in her room, he commanded, "Talitha koum," little girl, get up, and she did. Lazarus had been dead in his burial tomb for 3 days when Jesus arrived at his house. Martha and Mary were grieved. "If you had been here, you could have saved him," they said. He told them that they may know he is the resurrection and the life. He approached the tomb and cried out in a loud voice, "Lazarus, come out." And Lazarus did indeed walk out. If Jairus' daughter's miracle was amazing, Lazarus's was even more so. More shocking almost, as Lazarus emerged with his burial clothes draped around his frame. And then we have today's events. This was the only son of the widow, whose son's body was being processed through the crowd. No doubt to sorrowful eyes, tears, and cries of mourning for the son and for the mother. It is in this scene that Jesus stops the procession, tells the mother, "Do not weep," then touches the coffin, saying, "Young man, I tell you, arise." And he does. The scripture says he sits up and begins to speak. Can you picture this scene? Can you imagine what that must have been like to witness there at the city gate of Nain? I find this scene to be amazing and awe-inspiring as I reflect on it and contemplate how this passage applies to my life. I see the following. First, I see that Jesus saw a need and he acted on it. The scripture says that Jesus was moved to pity for the widow. She was a widow and this was her only son. Jesus saw this scene and said, not today will I let you grieve then in your old age die alone. He saw the need and he acted on it. From the scripture, I also see that Jesus isn't afraid of a dramatic moment. His calling Lazarus out of the tomb was no doubt dramatic as people watched the event from some distance And then to see Lazarus emerge was very dramatic. But in today's account, so much more dramatic, in my opinion. In today's account, a large crowd was gathered following that procession, no doubt pressed in along all sides of that coffin. And what does Jesus do? He awakes the young man from death, who then sits up and starts talking. Here, Jesus tells me that sometimes the dramatic is needed to get people's attention, to wake them up, to challenge them out of their comfort zone. Jesus isn't afraid of the dramatic moment. Today in the Gospel of Luke, we hear of Jesus raising the son of the widow of Nain from the dead. My reflection is twofold. Number one, Jesus acts where and when he sees need. And number two, Jesus doesn't shy away from shocking us to change our hearts. Two excellent messages for us to contemplate today. Thank you for joining the Daily Scripture Podcast. My name is Jerome Lavelle, and remember, our word of the day is Jesus acts, Jesus shocks. Until next time, be well and be blessed.